Ali, last but certainly not the least, you operate in a space that's very new, very venture forward, I want to say. But that said, you have like, I think, over 130 ventures in the Web3 space. So what are the kind of things you're looking for in the entrepreneurs that you invest in, that you support?
Absolutely. So I know my fellow panelists covered a number of them, so I'm not going to repeat those ones. But I can say that the biggest thing that we look for is progress over time. So it's a formula. And essentially, what we're trying to measure is how fast is a company moving in as little time as possible. And that's going to give us a really good indication, right? So if we find a company that's like 2 years in at the same progress as the company that started 3 months ago, at the same point, we're going to be more interested in the company, for example, that's in the last 3 months. But what we're also trying to then ask is, and trying to figure out is, what did they actually do over the last 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, so that we can better understand a timeline. How fast are they moving? What are they getting done? How meticulous is it? Like how customer centric, which we just talked about, which are all very, very important aspects. And to us, it's not necessarily about that most charismatic founder. Like that definitely helps to raise seed rounds as an example, or pre-seed rounds. But what matters more is the founders that are just daily grinding and making progress every day. And what's really exciting or interesting is that like progress compounds. So if you go make a little bit of progress and you just go do that consistently every day, you'll build something incredible, right? And that's what's very important. And we oftentimes see a lot of founders that have a really good idea of what they want to do in a year or 2 years, but they don't really understand how to break that down into like, what does the next week, few weeks, months look like? And that's actually a challenge. So this is even something that we work on with our founders to make sure that we can bring like those let's call it annual goals down to what does the next few weeks, months look like? What are those milestones? How do you measure it? How do you break that down across the team?
Okay, so again, progress over time and basically show what you're doing. I think that would be a show don't tell kind of thing, right? But we're talking all about the good attributes. We're talking about all the good characteristics. Let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the things that give you pause. Again, based off your experiences nowadays, I'm sure you hear something and you're just like, nope, you do you. I'll just go my way. Any red flags that you stay away from? Ali, I see you nodding.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
100% coachability is a very, very important factor. And, oftentimes what's interesting as ventures, we just look at so many startups, right? So as an example, we've easily looked at over 10,000 startups in the last couple of years. And, we're able to basically see 100 startups doing the same thing or something similar. And so being able to understand and learn from that and share those best practices then with a company that we invest in or whatnot can be quite valuable. And for them to be able to learn from that is very important. But we want to see founders that are just hyper organized as well. There's a lot of little things you can do at seed and pre-seed that'll bring investors in or at least get them excited, right? Just be like hyper organized, share actually your successes and what you're doing just in a very organized manner. Create updates and just share it to like every potential investor you've talked to, get them interested, show them how you're making progress. We actually make every single one of our companies do this as an example, even so that for future investors, it's a lot easier. But even get little things right. Get your data room and just be super organized and show them like all the contracts that you've signed or all the different major things that you're doing, your architecture, etc. And I find that these are like little things that signal that you're going in the right direction, that you're organized, you have things. And one of the easiest things, like we're talking to founders every single day, and they'll tell us things. We'll be like, okay, well, show me this, and then they can't show it to you, or it takes them a week, right? And you're like, that should be 5 minutes. Like you should be able to just show it to me on screen share or send it over. And so you see this a lot, right? Or just show me your pipeline. Like you tell me you're talking to all these customers, show me your pipeline. That should be a 5-second thing. You've already got it. But if they struggle with that, there's a problem even with like how they're organized in the back end. Are they really talking to all these people? What do those conversations look like? Like they clearly don't know.
Yeah, this is very much like Boy Scouts, like be prepared kind of thing. So I get that a lot. But first, and Ali, I want to go put this question to you because I'm assuming you're going to get a lot of this. But when again founders when they're pitching, how do they balance being technical versus being visionary, especially in a domain like yours? And the other question is again kind of related to it. What is a hidden key to standing out from other startups? When it's so crowded, when you have so little time. So both questions, but yeah, I'm going to go to you and Amir after. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the way I look at it is like pitches are extremely modular. So like even if you get on a call with an investor, you meet an investor, at the end of the day, like we actually believe that pitches are 11, 30, and 90 seconds, and those are basically all your key points. The rest of the stuff mostly is like you're just adding a bunch of stuff around like market or other little pieces, right? And so like being able to really succinctly get that vision down and have someone understand it in 30 seconds or less is very critical. That doesn't mean like we won't invest in a startup if we don't see that, but and we've worked with startups around this as well. But it is very helpful to think through that a lot, run it by some friends, run it by, any advisors, mentors, and help really figure out like how do you get that whole thing down in under 30 seconds. Then I think, different funds operate differently, right? Like, I mean, you can reach out to different funds. Some of them don't respond if you reach out cold. Some of them look at it. As an example, like we look at over 500 startups. Our partners, including myself, look at every single deal that comes to us, right? So we actually see everything, and that's our goal. And we want to see more, right? So, like, it depends. Some funds you're gonna have to go find and figure out where to meet them or see them in person. Some you could do online. Some you could do at socials. So try to figure that out. We generally like pitch decks that are under 12 slides. It's not a requirement, but it just shows us that you know what you're talking about and you can explain what you're talking about. There's a really cool tool called pitchleague.ai. If you've never used it, it's an AI tool where you can submit your pitch deck and it gives you a bunch of feedback. So you'll get feedback in 5 seconds.
Sorry, can you just name the site again?
Pitchleague.ai.
Pitchleague.ai.
Check it out. I think it's a really good tool for founders.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all your questions, and I hope this was insightful. Great job, speakers. Thank you so much.